Hi everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the Haunted Hospital speed build, and also happy Halloween to those of you who are celebrating it and care about it. So we're starting this off by furnishing what is kind of the x-ray room, so we've got those x-ray machines in there, and I was trying to add in some other random items that came with Get to Work, like the, just like the random machinery and such, because I felt that kind of added to the spookiness of this build a little bit. We got some extra pipes and stuff like that. And yeah, we're on the part of the first floor that is mainly just the exam areas and the surgery room and all of that. And I actually had a lot of fun furnishing this part of the build. Like, I think this was probably my favorite part of the build to furnish. I mean, I also had fun furnishing the upstairs, but the upstairs furnishing was a little bit more repetitive because I just have two different kinds of rooms for the patients. And I actually debated cutting out some of the rooms that I furnished upstairs because they weren't identical, but they're kind of similar, and I actually made a poll on Twitter asking if I should cut it out or not, because I wanted to know what, those of you who would actually be watching the video wanted to see, and it was super close, but more people ended up saying that they wanted to keep me to keep the footage in, so I just figured, why not, just leave it in, just so, anyone who wanted to could see all the detail of the build and such, because there was some stuff I did that I didn't want to accidentally cut out, like, to make some of the rooms creepier. I stuck toys in them. Like, there's this one item, if you type in the show hidden objects cheat, which is bb.showhiddenobjects, there's just half of a doll, like a doll that was taken apart, so I stuck that in a room or two, because I just really felt like that added to the creepy factor of this place. So yeah, in the end I just figured it was better to just keep most of it in. There's still a lot that I cut out of this build, like some of the placing of things on the walls and some of the landscaping and all of that. And, yeah, here we go, placing some stones in. I also briefly play tested the build a little bit, too, because I was talking in the last part about how I wasn't sure if this is actually a functional build. And unfortunately, when I was trying to get my Sims to go inside of it, they would not walk in it at all. And I have a hunch that's because of the stones I placed all over the floor, which is really disappointing, because that means you can't really use the build at all. I didn't really do too much playtesting, but yeah, I think they can actually go inside of it, but I kind of want to use it in a Let's Play anyway, so I might just take out most of the stones, and if I do that, then I might upload that version of the build as well, just in case anyone else wants a version of this that's actually more usable. It could also be the ivy, but I'm pretty sure I've done builds in the past where I partially covered doors with ivy and Sims were still able to go inside, so I'm pretty sure the culprit is the stones. I mean, I might have to do a little bit more testing to narrow that down, but that does disappoint me, because I just really love the abandoned, apocalyptic look that the stones all over the floor gave the place. Like, it's just without the stones, it just looks so much more bare and less convincing and less creepy, and I just really wanted to just go for that look of somewhere that was abandoned. And I mean, I've always had a little bit of a fascination with places that are abandoned and are starting to get taken back by nature. Like, I haven't really been to too many places like that personally, but I just find it so cool to look at pictures of places like that, like abandoned theme parks and schools and hospitals and all of that. Like, I don't know what it is. And I think the only time I've really been to a place like that was when I was younger, and there was this gutted, I think it was like an old girls' school in the past or something like that, and it caught on fire and was gutted, and it didn't have a roof, and in some places the walls were missing, so it was only the foundation. And they did a haunted house thing where they would set up these scary scenes and exhibits throughout the remains of the school, and you kind of like walk through and people try to grab you and scare you and like jump out of coffins and that sort of a thing. So it wasn't really, I didn't really find it that scary, because I mean, it was just kind of that, haunted house kind of scary, like not that unsettling, I'm somewhere where maybe ghosts are kind of creepy, which I find so much more frightening than haunted houses and people trying to jump scare you. So yeah, even though it was there at night, it wasn't that kind of a deal. But yeah, like I said in the last part, I don't think I would ever want to actually spend the night at a place like this, but I wouldn't mind going there during the day, where, because I guess traditionally ghosts pop out at night, so that wouldn't really bother me as much. But even then, I don't know if I actually believe in ghosts, but, it still does feel unsettling. I know some people say that when you get that unsettling feeling when you're in a place that's supposedly haunted, that's a sign that there's ghosts and spirits and all of that, but I mean, I don't know if I believe that, or that's more so just that you feel like there could be something there. So that's what's making you feel uneasy. I don't know, like I've heard ghost stories from people that sound very convincing and make me kind of believe that they exist, but then again, I've never had any personal experience, and I feel like there's not really much of a scientific explanation for why ghosts would exist, so because of that, I kind of have a hard time believing it. But I mean, so many people have had stories that maybe there is something there, but it's just like how does that exist? It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of hard to believe. But I do have family and friends who have had weird stuff happen to them that's kind of hard to explain. Like after my grandmother passed away about 3 years ago, my cousin who lived with my grandparents was trying to find a picture of her when she was younger to scan or print out, and she couldn't find the particular picture that she was looking for, so she just got frustrated and just went to bed, and early the next morning when everyone was asleep, the printer randomly printed out the exact same picture that my cousin was trying to find. So that was just like really weird. Like I don't know if it's just like a weird coincidence. And then another thing that happened with that was that I don't know where my grandfather was in the house, or like I don't think anyone was in the kitchen at all, but they had this thing on top of the refrigerator that had all the vitamins and stuff like that. It was like one of those things that just kind of like spins around and to store stuff, and you can just put it on the counter or something like that. And it's on top of the fridge, and then randomly out of nowhere, it just like fell off the top of the fridge, and it wasn't anywhere near the edge either. Like it wasn't teetering on the edge, it was pretty far back, but somehow it just like fell and like came crashing onto the floor. And after my grandmother passed away, my grandfather was understandably like very upset, and he had kind of gone behind on taking his vitamins. So they were kind of thinking that maybe it was like my grandmother trying to get him to take his vitamins. So it's just really creepy stuff like that has happened. And then I had a friend who used to work at a church, and she said that weird stuff would happen, like she would be straightening up the chairs in the area in the basement where they had the vacation Bible school, and then she would go back out and some of the chairs that she just straightened would be crooked, and then she'd move them back, do something else, and then she would come back and they'd just be crooked again. And there's other stuff like she would be in the area of the church where they actually held the services, and if it was dark, she would kind of get a glimpse of someone dressed in clothes from like the 1800s, and then she would look back and then they'd be gone. And other people had really weird experiences, and they had housekeepers who would quit because they had weird things happen to them and just didn't want to deal with going back to this church anymore. So yeah, I mean, stuff like that makes me believe that ghosts could be real. But I mean, unless you've had an experience yourself, I guess it's kind of hard to say that you believe in ghosts. Although when I was younger, I used to say that I saw a ghost, like, because I went to that whole gutted school thing that I was talking about earlier when I think it was like when I was 9 or 10 or something like that. And for a little bit after that, I told people that I saw a girl in a blue dress on top of the building and that it was a ghost, but I'm pretty sure I made that up just because I wanted to sound cool, like I had a ghost story. So yeah, no, that wasn't an actual ghost story. That was just me like trying to come up with some excuse for why I thought they were real. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, there's just so many unexplained things that have happened that maybe it could be true. I don't know, maybe some of you have some weird ghost experiences yourselves. But anyway, back to the build. We're on the rooms right now, so I'm on the part of the upper floor that's like the exam rooms, because I furnished half of the rooms up here as rooms where I guess like more short-term patients or like people go in for exams and checkups and that sort of thing, and then the other half of the upper floor has more so regular beds, but I use those beds that came with Get to Work, that I think they're more so the ones that are meant to be in jail cells, but I just stuck them in there anyway. So I imagine those are the rooms for long-term patients who have been staying there for long periods of time. But yeah, I'm on this room right now, which is one of the larger of the exam rooms because it does have the 3 exam beds, and I like how this room turned out. The rooms are all furnished very similarly, so it's kind of like the same thing for each room. You just have a bed and some other medical type furniture that was crookedly placed in the room, and then you get a bunch of ivy on the walls and some cracks and some spider webs and all of that. But I try to place the furniture a little bit differently in each room so that they each didn't look like the exact same thing. But yeah, it definitely wasn't as fun to furnish as the lower levels were. I was also using that water stain wall decoration a lot and just trying to size the different ones up and just overlap them to try to get some slightly different patterns out of them so it didn't look like the same thing all over each of the walls. But I found that gave the brick an extra bit of detail and made it look a little bit creepier because I think I mentioned it's the last part, but I kind of thought it looked a little bit like blood, which is kind of creepy in a hospital setting like this. But yeah, I just thought that was a really cool look. And oh yeah, also speaking of sizing up objects, we are also going to be able to finally size down objects soon, which I'm really looking forward to because I know you could kind of do it before. Like, I think you had to set an object as a Sim's head, and then if you canceled it, then the object would plop back down, size down. But I mean, it'll definitely be really cool to be able to do that without the cheat, so I'm looking forward to that because I think we get that in a patch. I'm not sure when it comes down. I saw stuff on the patch today, but I didn't look into specifically when it's going to be coming up. But yeah, I think they're going to have a patch with that, and then also the new roofing tools, I believe, sometime before Cats and Dogs comes out. Yeah, I need to look a little bit more into that because I'm recording this October 30th, the day that, the embargo lifted and people were posting a bunch of videos. But unfortunately, I haven't had time to really look over everything yet because I got home from work like an hour or so ago before recording this, and I looked at the stuff for like 20 minutes and then wanted to get to recording this before I was too tired to do so. But yeah, when I'm done with this, I'm going to go and just spend the rest of the evening looking at the videos and stuff like that because I'm really excited to learn more about this expansion pack because I just can't wait for it to be here. I keep saying this, but I think I'm more excited for this than I have been for any of the other Sims 4 expansion packs. And yeah, I've also watched the vet live stream too, which was pretty informative to watch. And also, I think they said that teens can be vets, which I wasn't expecting because I think you can hire teens to work as vets in your clinic. And I'm guessing that that means that teens can also, like if you have a family that owns a vet clinic, that teens can also work in the vet clinic and use the items as well. I mean, that would make sense. It would make sense if they could be hired, but they couldn't actually use the items, which is really good because I've been talking about how in my Cats and Dogs Let's Play, the main Sim is going to be a teen. So originally she wasn't really going to be able to do anything with the vet career until she was a young adult, but I'm glad that I'm going to be able to have her do some things. I'm not going to have her full-on work in a vet clinic. I don't really want to give away my whole backstory, but yeah, she's not going to have parents who are vets or anything like that, but she will have ties to people who own a vet clinic, so I'm glad that I'll be able to have her do some stuff with that before it's time for her to age up so that it won't be like I'm not doing anything with that aspect of the expansion pack for the first like 10 or 15 parts or so, so that's something I was really happy to find out, although I was kind of disappointed that there isn't really a vet career, because I was kind of hoping that it was going to be where you could either have your Sims go through a vet career, or they could own the clinic like that, and you could have your Sims work for a specific clinic that their family didn't necessarily own, but I can see how that would maybe be a little bit difficult to pull off, so I can understand why that's not a thing, but yeah, I was really hoping that you wouldn't have to just own a clinic in order to be able to work as a vet, but it looks like that is what you have to do. But it's still better than the dine-out system where you couldn't work as a chef and you could just manage it, so I'm glad that you can do both management type stuff and actually work as a vet, so you could have like, a Sim who's like the owner, does more of the business stuff, and then another Sim who does more of the actual checking up on pets, or you can have a Sim do both of those things. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing around with that, and it's gonna be here in less than 2 weeks. Yeah, I think like a week and a half, so pretty excited for next Friday. Also really looking forward to the new roofing tools because I have found the roofing tools in this game pretty frustrating at times, so glad we're going to get octagonal roofs, and I think hexagonal and circular, and I know we're going to be able to pull the eaves of the roof forward instead of just being able to pull them out to the sides, so that's another thing that'll be really handy for building. And I was watching, in some of the videos I watched, I think they said there might be some other things that are going to be updated with the roofing, so I'm looking forward to finding out what all of that's going to be. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot that's going to be coming with this expansion pack, and just like the cast and the build and buy mode. So yeah, usually when I do my overview videos for like the item showcase videos for expansion packs, I do build and buy mode and cast all in one video, but I think for this pack I might actually split into 2 different videos, because it just seems like there's going to be so much that it might just be a little bit easier to keep things more organized and just have cast in one video and build and buy mode in the other video, so I can maybe show a little bit more of each of those rather than trying to cram everything into one video. So yeah, that's probably gonna be what I do. Anyway, yeah, I'm on to the more long-term room part of the build. So yeah, this is where I didn't add too many personal touches to the rooms, but this is where I made things a little bit creepier by adding in the dolls and a few toys and stuff like that, although I didn't do that with this room. But yeah, I just had that shelf there because I imagined that maybe there was a TV on this. But then again, I don't know why I was thinking about that when I was also thinking that this is a place that was used in the 1800s and early 1900s. And I mean, I guess in the like if it was used in the 50s, maybe there would have been TVs in there. But I don't know if I think TVs were kind of like a new thing in the 50s. So maybe they wouldn't have put those in a hospital. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't know. They're just shelves, so it's fine. But I think the next room might be the one that I made kind of a children's room, or did I already do it? No, that's a bathroom. Okay, I think this was, I don't remember exact. I think it might have been this room that I did that in. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I was also sticking that hamper item that came with Parenthood all over the place, because I imagine that it was discarded hospital gowns and that sort of thing. It'll be really creepy if that. Oh yeah, there's the severed baby torso. So yeah, that was the room I stuck that in. Okay, and then I think I stuck another toy. There might have been another room that I did that sort of thing in, but I don't think there's too many more rooms to go. I think we got like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 more rooms to go in here. When I was first making this build, I was kind of hoping that I could use the copy room tool a little bit more on the inside of it, like that all the patient rooms would be the same size so that I could just copy them and not have to furnish all of them individually, but it didn't really end up working out that way. They're all slightly different sizes, but I think it's kind of better that way, because it probably is better that they're furnished individually so that they don't all look the same, because I mean, they wouldn't really, I mean, I guess maybe they kind of look the same anyway, but I just think it looks better with them a little bit differently. But I was hoping I could copy them and just move things around slightly and that would all be fine, but even then I probably wouldn't end up moving things around enough that the rooms would look very different anyway. So yeah, I guess in the end it was better that it worked out this way. I did actually do that with some of the bathrooms though, because a few of the bathrooms were the exact same size. I was getting kind of sick of furnishing the bathrooms towards the end, so I was like, we'll just copy this and I'll just do the whole moving things around slightly to make it look like I kind of made a different room. And yeah, I just ended up doing that in the end. And yeah, I was getting kind of sick of furnishing this build towards the end just because it's so huge and kind of similar with some of the rooms, but I think this is still one of my favorite builds. Probably my favorite Halloween build that I've done so far, because I just feel like it. Yeah, there's where one of the spots where I used the copy room tool, so that ended up working out pretty well. But yeah, I like this build more than the past couple of Halloween builds that I've made, although it definitely was more time consuming. Oh yeah, there's where I'm trying to I was trying to remove some of the stuff that was on the outside of the room so that I could copy it, because I didn't want to copy like the wallpaper or some of the ivy and stuff that was on, I think it was like where the windows were. I didn't want to copy that, so I was just trying to do that off to the side. But yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about the build. Although, something else I did want to say about cats and dogs is that I did look at some stuff on the objects before starting this, and I really like the style that they went for with the objects, because I was thinking that it might end up being a little bit more modern or more of like a contemporary kind of a style, but it looks like it's more of a rustic, country, and coastal sort of a style, which I really like, because I feel like we don't really have a lot of objects that go with that kind of a style in the game, and that is a style that I'm pretty fond of. So yeah, I was really glad to see that, and looking forward to being able to look through the items in a little bit more detail. Yeah, so I'm probably going to be using the items that come with that pack a good bit in builds in the future. But I don't really have much else to say in the video, so I'm just going to go ahead and end the commentary a couple minutes early here. So yeah, there will of course be a link to download this in the description if you want to do so, even though this build is probably kind of useless as is, but I don't know, you could just download it and check it out, and that's, I don't know, have your Sims wander around the outside of it. That's really about all you could do with the build how it is now, unless you want to go through and try to remove the stones and the other objects that were in the way. But yeah, I'll have that stuff down there in the description and other stuff in there and how to find it in-game. So yeah, I'm going to leave off here, so I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. you.